Lynette is from Hollard. She is head of our CSI team. Obviously, you know Edward and myself. I'm from Hollard. What we are talking about today is a 4-year relationship. So it's a little different from the relationships you've heard about. And all of us are here living the legacy of our predecessors. And that's really what I'm going to kick off with. So our relationship with PFP started in 2012, where we launched, I think, first pioneering organizations with Louise to launch Partners for Possibility. A colleague of mine at the time, Nick Hughes, who was really a very avid member of our CSI committee, and he partnered with Mavis, which is Edward's predecessor. And we hence started our relationship with Bovet at the time. And at that time, what we did was we realized that this can only realistically work if you bring along as many people with you as possible. And that's exactly what we did. So Nick at the time collaborated with Lynette's predecessor, Ros Burgess, who was heading up CSI at the time, and a whole lot of other members of CSI. And I'm sorry, it's going quite quickly. But anyway, what we did was I would just like to acknowledge other members of our CSI team who were involved. I'm going to quickly hand over to Lynette.
Hi everyone. At the time, as mentioned, this is quite a story of collaboration from our predecessors, and we've been fortunate enough to take over the reins, well I have at least. And I was actually working in the division that started the relationship with Bovet, and was involved from a volunteer level and not officially. And it's big thanks to some very, very passionate Hollard members, Hollard CSI members, Tabiso Momakwe, Edward will know well, Anne Peters, David Shard, who I actually had the opportunity of working for at some point, who was driving it from a strategic level, and Martin Khwali. But it wouldn't have been possible without the passion of Ros Burgess at the time, who I'm still trying to fill those very big shoes of hers as the predecessor of, as the previous CSI manager. Right, so this is, we've just painted a bit of a historical picture here of our relationship with Bovet from a CSI perspective, and this is Nick Hughes in one of the pictures here meeting with Mavis in the first site visit when they went to go and have a look and see if we could potentially partner with Bovet from a CSI perspective. And if we just take it a little bit further on, we can go into a bit of a historical partnership, and perhaps I can hand over to Edward to give us a few stats of the school.
Thank you so much for the this wonderful gathering. It's so wonderful to be here, I can tell. And we want to just give you a background of the school. It's in Alexandra. At that time, the school had 1,523. Currently, the school is running at 1.7, including the grade R's. So the school it's really growing. We have got 44 teachers at the school, but now we're talking about the. It was 44, but now we've got 45 educators. So the challenge that we have in the area is that we are the only school that is offering Tshivenda and Xitsonga in the whole of Alexandra, the primary school. So every child who wants to do Tshivenda or Xitsonga has to be admitted in our school. So that one is a serious challenge that we have. And we also have got children, that are doing some other home languages in other schools because they could not, get admission. So the other thing is that our school participates in different sporting activities, although we do not have the sport facility at school, but our children do participate. And we also have different, cultural activities. Like for an example, we do makwaya, the Tshivenda dance, and quite a whole lot of things that we do at school. It's only two groups of, cultural backgrounds, Tshivenda and Xitsonga. So during cultural days, then we observe that. So basically that is the background of the school. So initially the building is supposed to cater for, I think it's 22 classrooms. So imagine the number that we have, and we only had 22 classrooms. So it was a serious challenge, but we are so grateful because I think Kamini will just tell us about, the infrastructure and how they tried actually not even tried how they helped us as a school.
Actually, I'm going to hand over to Lynette to do that, but there's one important point I would like to make, and there were two words that were used in previous presentations, and the one was collaboration, and the second one is about enabling a sustainable, positive change. And why we are so passionate about this is really, as an insurance company, believe it or not, we believe that we enable people to create and secure a better future. And we do that through catalyzing societies, and by catalyzing them to create and sustain a better future. So what I'm so proud about is that collectively what we have done here is we have, through our predecessors, we have catalyzed something that we are continuing to sustain. And we don't see it as a closeout presentation. We actually see it as just a feedback session to you about where we've come from and where we believe this relationship can go. So I'm going to hand over to Lynette, who's going to tell you about how she has collaborated so extensively through Bovet. I have really just watched her do it, actually.
You can turn to the next one. Right, so just painting a picture of a bit of the numbers. The relationship was formalized in June of 2013 with Bovet Primary School through the collaboration with our Hollard CSI team and the passion and the vision that they could see along with Edward's predecessor and himself when he came along. And in the 4 years we've spent 744,000 and we've been able to make quite a difference, particularly with the classroom and space issues. I mean, I'm sure Edward will probably elaborate a little bit more about who was presenting earlier about space issues in classrooms, about 73 learners in classes, etc. And I think you were sitting with about 67 learners in classroom, and they were in more informal venues, storage facilities, etc. And we were able to assist them by providing a little bit of a better infrastructure. And over the past couple of years, we've been able to erect a total of 8 mobile classrooms to accommodate these learners, but with a particular focus on grade R. And through Hollard CSI involvement and with the business partners, obviously everything that comes with a classroom, the furniture, air conditioners, cupboards and chalkboards and fire extinguishers. Safety is quite a big thing as well. And we've committed to maintenance of the aforesaid classrooms. So annual wax oiling on, it was a Wendy Lane structures. And also then a little bit of training when it comes to first aid and fire training for some of the educators, as well as the relevant tools that go along with that: first aid kits, fire hoses, and an emergency assembly plan. And then Edward, perhaps you'd like to chat about the acquisition of the additional land and maybe a little bit of the twinning program with Lyndhurst Primary and how we all came together at Hollard.
Actually, this partnership, it's something that I've seen growing from strength to strength. And I felt very grateful when I joined Bovet, because I joined Bovet in 2014. And I felt so lucky that this partnership was already there. Because I remember my first day when I set foot at that school, they took me around, and something that shocked my life was to see children learning in a storeroom with one window right at the top. There was no enough ventilation, and it's something that shocked me, and I felt like I was ignorant because I used to work at Ivory Park, and Ivory Park, it's not very far from Alexandra, but I never thought something like that was happening, in a nearby township. It was just shocking to see that. And it was not one classroom, there were some other classrooms that were squashed literally in a storeroom. So, when I came in, then it was during that time when this process was, unfolding. And thank goodness, because, it helped a lot, because children were able to move from such type of an environment to a conducive environment. So now, when I joined the school, as a new leader or new manager in a school, you'll find that there are challenges that you encounter, and you feel that you need to lay a strong foundation so that you build a strong team. It was based on that when I was introduced to Kamini, I had a discussion, and we agreed that we'd love to do a team building. We started with the SMT because they were, if you're a leader, you've got your own vision and you'd love people to work with you, go with you, move towards the same direction. So Hollard sponsored that. We had a successful team building. And, I can humbly say that now I've been seconded to Rialohile High School. And to me, it shows that indeed that team is able to run the school, without me. But at the time when I arrived, it was like, oh, here is, the Messiah and all that. But I was happy because at least, or at most, the predecessor had a relationship, a very good one. So she left me a legacy. And even today, we are still together. So the other thing that we did, after the SMT, we had also to do a strategic planning. And, I agree with the speakers when they say this initiative, actually, it's a long-term thing. It's not something that, happens within a short period of time. So there was a concept of social cohesion, which is one of the pillars, of the Department of Education in Gauteng. So when that concept was introduced, fortunately, we were, selected as a school and we had to participate in that. So we did a strategic planning and we involved Lynette. And at first I was a bit scared and I was like, oh my goodness, now we are twinned with a suburban school. How is Kamini going to, embrace this? How is the team at Hollard going to embrace this? But fortunately, they said, you know what? This is where we would love to partner again with you. We need to move forward with this. And we embraced one another on that one. It was a great success because head office was there, the SGB, all the members of staff, teachers, everyone was there. And it was a huge success. It was during school holidays. It was done over the weekend, and the team from Hollard was there. And there was a time when, our team for fundraising also visited Hollard. We became very close, like a family. And it's something that I really appreciate in this partnership. It worries me a bit when we realize that there are some of us as principals who do not, take this seriously. And how I wish, we could all see and, take or embrace this initiative, because the foundation that was laid when we did that strategic planning has made sure or led to Bovet to have a school bus as we speak today. And again, we were the first school to be gazetted, in South Africa, to be formally twinned with another school. And that project is becoming a success. As we speak, Mr. Shaw and myself have been selected to go and represent South Africa in China in November. And it was because of this partnership. So it has gone beyond our expectation. It's just unfortunate that we had a lot of things that we're planning to do for this year. But unfortunately, the department came in and declared, our site as a construction area because they are converting the school into a smart school. Meaning that the school won't be using the chalkboard, they'll be using smart classrooms and all that. So based on that, some of the projects had to be, put on hold. Otherwise, we'll be, saying a lot of things that would have happened. And now that I'm at Rialohile, I still feel that, I feel I can just go back and push for the other projects. But still, the team is still continuing. And we are very, grateful because we have achieved a lot up to so far, and it is because of this partnership. One other thing that I would love to say is that, Kamini, as my business partner, is very humble, as you can see. And the team at Hollard as well, were very supportive. Or let me say they are very supportive. Because it's not only Kamini, like Lynette, she was new, but She just came in and we all, got on the board and, flew onto the sea and everything is just running smoothly. And we really appreciate if you can see the children very excited. This is what I think it was the day when Hollard came, the handover, and you can see during winter it's warm, during summer it's cold, yes. So you can see the setup, it's very beautiful. And this partnership for us has worked. It has worked wonders. And I'm very grateful. And the school as well, it's very grateful because remember the setup of our school, the infrastructure, actually the issue of space, it's very challenging. And but Hollard came in to also help us with the plan. It's not easy to get the plan approved. But Hollard came in and they had to talk to the HOD and all that. Even now, the master plan that we have for the school, it's from Hollard. They helped us a lot. And now with the projects that are taking place at school, they are using the master plan. So we are very grateful and it has been a success.
The one very inspirational thing that Edward said to me, I think it was probably on the first day that I met with him, and he said to me, the vision he has for his school is that he chooses not for the environment to dictate the the future for the children, but really that they dictate the environment in which they want their futures to live in. And how they progress and develop as South Africans. And that for me has stayed with me because all I could see when I got to Bovet was what cannot be done. And after hearing that, I realized that all Edward was seeing was what can be done. And that has certainly been a really big lesson for me. And I would agree with you. We've had 2 of our EXCO members who are joining the program, actually 2 EXCO members and 2 other managers at Hollard. And when I spoke to my EXCO team about the program, I did say to them, you have no idea how easy our jobs are in corporate in relation to what happens in your environment. Yeah. I'm just going to hand over to Lynette. I'd like to thank you for the presentation that you put together. And any final words that you want to talk?
Partners for Possibility was one of the first organizations that I saw at the first CSI conference that I attended last year, and Hollard's always been, their business is partner based, and when we were putting this presentation together, we were speaking about the whole Partners for Possibility, partnering, collaboration, creation, and continuity, as well as catalyzing positive change, and I think through Hollard's partnerships with our CSI projects, with our EXCO members, with our leaders. And with our insurance partners have also contributed towards our CSI projects. It's just given us this whole holistic picture and it's almost just closed all the gaps for us and enabled us to continue further.
Thank you.
Well, thank you.